sun and the moon.
Okay.
They both played a huge part in my own journey over the last 12 months in my own research. And I'll start with the sun. I can't remember what triggered this, but I ended up looking really closely at images from Egypt and other ancient cultures where we're told that they are sun worshipping. And I kind of just looked at these images more objectively and with a fresh eye.
Sure.
And to me, they didn't, for the first time I looked at them and saw that they didn't seem active. Rather, they looked passive. And by that I mean it didn't seem like worshipping the sun, it seemed like receiving from the sun.
Exactly.
So in my research it led to coming across the practice of sun gazing. And so I started doing sun gazing.
Yeah.
And I was only doing it for a week when I was sitting there one morning and just had knowing, is all I can explain it. The first knowing was that the true Trinity is the Father, Son, Mother Earth and us.
Exactly.
And that had been distorted.
Yes, it has.
To take not only our power away from us, but Mother Earth's. The second was that the symbology of the sun has also been kind of hijacked, I guess, by the powers that be. They appear to worship the sun themselves. It's in all of their symbols.
Yeah.
So that we come to that very basic conclusion, well, they worship it, therefore it's bad, let's turn away.
Yeah, it's a reverse psychological operation happening on the planet to turn people away from the sun.
And when I realised that, I thought of you know, we all wear sunglasses.
Yeah.
We all cover ourselves in sunscreen.
Yeah.
We have got our slip, slop, slap program here in Australia that's been running for a long time. And it's all to prevent us from receiving the sun's energy physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Because when I look at it in the mornings, doing that sun gazing, you can feel, without actually having, how can I put it, thoughts that you can articulate, but it feels like wisdom is kind of coming in somewhere in the back of your head and just starting to infiltrate. And then during the course of the day, or over the course of days, you start to just come to nice little realisations on your own.
Well, see, that's the beauty of it, and that's what I've said all along. People already know this, and people will reawaken to this for themselves, and you're a prime example of that. You know, you're not regurgitating what other people have said, you're just sharing an experience that you had, which confirms, you know, things that people like myself and others are actually saying about the construct of life here, that our essence flows in from the core of the sun to the core of the earth, and then to our incarnational constructs, and that's our umbilical cord. But we're not going back up that path, you know. That's not, you know, externalising. It's just the flow of the construct here. But what we're becoming is so much more than that. And, you know, but the connection, to have that connection with Father, Son and Mother Earth is imperative if you wish to take the organic path to ascension. That's what it comes down to. And all these other concepts and modalities and philosophies are designed to turn us away from that knowing, to steer us away from that, to some other avenue, whatever each entity behind each philosophical construct wants to draw you into that one, or draw you into that one, or draw you into that one.
So really, to be here and really participate in this ascension process, it feels like you don't need anything more than what you get from the sun, and connecting with Mother Earth, listening to in here,
and being yourself.
And that's it.
And that's it. It is really that simple. Just be you. Because to be you means just to continue down your path, to flow in your own river of life. Because if they need to go and sit on a park bench and get drunk for the next month, then that's good for them. That's what they needed to rebalance themselves. Now, you know, a white lighter from the false light will say, well, that's just stupid to recommend that. That's totally going against it. He should be meditating and bringing in the light, and, you know, that's creating an imbalance in that person. They need that charge to rebalance themselves.
I've actually noticed those cycles in my own life where I go through periods of eating really well, sleeping really well, doing all the right things, I'm doing the right thing, drinking properly, and then I'll go through an equally unbalanced period where there's too much wine and not the right
too many chalky biscuits,
too much chocolate,
yeah,
and there's definite cycles. I can see them now.
Yeah,
they're becoming really, really obvious.
And you become aware of your patterns, your own cycles, and it's so important not to beat yourself up.
No, I'm not anymore.
But we tend to do that. I've done it in the past. And when people drink too much or have too many touch chocolate or whatever, whatever it is, they end up beating themselves up and they end up becoming their own worst enemy. And it's important because that just creates that big divide. Just go, okay, I did that. Let's just move on and learn from it. Let's not go there again. Yeah. And or I'm just going to keep doing this till one day I'm actually going to learn the lesson. And the next time you do it, you feel even worse. And the next time you do it, you feel even worse. Then one day the penny drops and you go, oh, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this after all because the message you finally got came through. And, we're a bit thick-headed down here and it takes a while, because our bodies are talking to us all the time and we don't listen to our bodies as much as we should. But anyway, we get there in the end.
It feels to me like these periods of not doing so much the right thing for myself are actually processes of grounding. Because I do the right things and sort of I get up, then I've got to ground myself again. And then I grow and then I've got to ground myself again. That's how it feels. When I first started researching the moon, I came across a book called Penetration, which was by Ingo Swann, the founder of remote viewing.
Yeah.
And he talked about in that book an experience of remote viewing the moon and finding that it was inhabited, for one, with humans, non-humans, lots of machinery. There was a lot of work going on there. And he came to the conclusion that it was man-made or artificial.
Yeah, it's an artificial satellite. Yeah.
And then David Icke came out with his book, his recent one, The Lion Sleeps No More, and he dedicates quite a bit of that to the moon. And he talks about the fact that it is, again, artificial, that it was placed specifically where it's been placed in our orbit, but it goes way beyond that, that it's the base of operations for the dark agenda, and that they locally, and that they are literally broadcasting this mind matrix,
which is what I said in March of 2009.
Right.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Now
wholeheartedly.
And I'm looking at the
because I've
been
there and I've seen it. I've been there and I've seen it.
So where I found your version of the moon and his version of the moon varied, although identical up to that point, was that he believed it was completely artificial, and I guess controlled by, owned, run and controlled by the elite, the dark.
Well, the elite go there for holidays.
Yeah.
Since 52, even before then, but of late. Another more levels of the elite go there since 1952 when Truman was taken there and indoctrinated into the Dark Brotherhood.
What? As president, when he was president?
Oh, well,
that
towards the end.
That, wasn't it?
Oh, it was at the end.
Towards the end. So, why him? Why not the presidents before?
Well, it's like a reward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Think of it as a reward. That's probably the best way to put it.
So have all the presidents since known?
Some. Yeah, they got... Because they allowed more members of the ruling elite to go there for holidays, it then creates a more precarious situation. More people end up knowing about it, more gets leaked, and so they just tighten the reins a little bit here and there. But, yeah... Still some people are going there on a regular basis. So
where you vary from David is the origins of it.
Oh, the origins of the moon. Oh, okay, because I haven't read David's book. I've seen an interview with him speaking of the moon, and I just agree with everything he said. I think it's wonderful that he understands what the moon is about as well. I think we parallel in a lot of things, yeah.
But I tend to resonate with your story of its origins because it does explain, as a woman, my connection to it.
Yeah, the connection that we have with the moon is so deep, and if people were to understand the origins of it, it makes a difference. Because if it was totally an artificial construct from day one by the Draconian empires, then we wouldn't have the connection with it that we do.
And the fact that we have one is undeniable.
It was originally a Pleiadian craft used to seed life, and it was used to seed a lot of life here. That's why they wanted that craft, because they knew that placing that around the Earth had a better connection with all of life here, and that is the greatest mechanical tool they could use to manipulate this reality than anything else.
So they didn't build it, they stole it.
They stole it. It had its own atmosphere, its own ecosystem. It was just a planetoid, which was a beacon in... it was an absolute beacon in a craft that was used to seed life. A beacon in the fleet of beings of the light. It was amazing. Everyone loved that craft. There's so much energy at one stage. So when that got lost, when that was lost in the war to defend Earth against these empires, the pain was horrendous, and we still carry a lot of that pain in our memories. The yearning and the pain we have for the moon is horrendous on very, very, very deep subconscious levels. Yeah, the history of who and what the moon is such an amazing story. I would love to make a movie about it. It would really touch a lot of people, making a movie about that subject.
So it started off as this beautiful place.
Yeah.
And got turned into the Death Star.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. So George Lucas had it mostly right, except for the part where they created the Death Star themselves. No, they didn't. They got it and they trashed it, because the life force just was gone with the crystals that were helping to drive it, and all the beings from the ethers that were involved, and the higher realms of the fourth dimensional planes behind the scenes that were involved in the creation of life via this vessel was so profound. And the fact that it was used to seed Earth, which is the melting pot of the universe. So at one stage, there was more energetic patterns running through that vehicle than anything else in the universe. Did we walk on the moon? Yes, we did. Did we go there on our own accord? Nope. It was a contract, it was a deal that was done behind the scenes, and they were taken there in craft and placed there, and when it came time to go, they were brought back. Anyone with half a brain really could just look at the technology they were using and would know that there is absolutely impossible for a little tin can like that to make the journey through the Van Allen radiation belt and the spacesuits that they used, and it's just a joke.
How should we feel about the moon now? I mean, because people, including myself, feel a number of emotions. Sad at what's happened to the moon.
Yeah.
Not wanting to be controlled by the moon. So kind of
Anymore.
turning my back on the moon, and yet sad at doing that as well. Can we consciously choose to opt out of this moon-led matrix?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. And the way I approach the moon now is I look at it as an old friend who has played the devil's advocate for me, because that's what it's designed to do. Ultimately, from much higher levels of the universe, when you understand the role the moon has played, it was always destined to do this from the day it was created. This was its journey all along, just like us. I mean, any person who creates a life here, well, the moon has a life's journey as well. And so it was always destined to play this role here. And so it served us immeasurably. You can't put words to the role, to how it's served you and me and everybody here. Because without the moon, we would never have this construct of duality we have here.